Okay, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started with this morning's webinar. My name is Dave Callan of SCORE, and I'll be moderating today's webinar entitled How to Create Killer Content for Social Media and Your Website. It's my pleasure to have Judith Lee with us this morning. I will introduce her in just a moment. I want to make sure that you're comfortable with the setup that you have, and I'll also give you some information about SCORE. At the bottom of your screen, if you move your mouse around a little bit, it may have to pop up. You will see a Q&A button, and that button will be used, if you would please, to ask any questions of our moderator or myself on behalf of SCORE. If you just want to share a message or make a comment or something like that, feel free to use the chat feature as well. But most notably, we'll be looking for you to use the Q&A button, and I'll monitor both just to be sure, but that way, if there are any questions for our presenter, that we will make sure that those get addressed during the call or shortly thereafter. We are recording this morning's call, our webinar, and again, if you have any concerns about that, I'd encourage you to drop off now. All right, let me give you a little bit of background on SCORE before I introduce our speaker. SCORE, as you may know or may not, is almost a 60-year-old organization formed as a resource partner for the Small Business Administration. And there are various chapters across the U.S. This morning, you're interfacing with our chapter that's headquartered here in Chester and Delaware counties. And there are about 100 of us in this chapter that serve our small business owners, our aspiring entrepreneurs, those that need some help or some guidance along their entrepreneurial journey. Just like this morning's webinar, almost everything that SCORE does comes at no cost to you. At the very end of the presentation, I'll talk a little bit about the mentorship program that we have available. But again, almost everything, excluding a rare exception, there's no cost to you to use SCORE services. So again, it's a fantastic organization. Both Judith and I are part of SCORE. We're part of the Chester and Delaware counties SCORE branch, and we are here to help you. Okay, let's go ahead and get ready for the presentation. Judith, if you wouldn't mind just clicking one more for us. Again, the rules of engagement, the call is being, or the webinar is being recorded. It will be made available to you within 24 to 48 hours or so. You have been placed on mute. So again, use the Q&A box if you have any questions. This way, we avoid distractions for others listening on the call. You can see that the closed caption is on the bottom as well. And obviously, that'll give you an opportunity, if you need to go back and look at that as well. I talked about the Q&A, and then any other comments that you may have, you can place those in the chat box. I won't monitor that quite as closely as the Q&A. Okay, so without further ado, let me introduce you to Judith Lee. Judith Lee is a highly experienced communications professional who's been a freelance writer and marketing consultant since the mid-1980s. Since 2010, Judith has focused on social media as an effective and affordable tool that levels the playing field for small businesses. Her clients include small business owners, healthcare professionals, and nonprofit groups, notably. Judith was a 2016 chairman of the board for Southern Chester County Chamber of Commerce. She's a certified SCORE presenter who provides SCORE seminars by Zoom and in person in Chester and Delaware counties. So without further ado, Judith, let me turn the baton over to you. And thank you again for joining us this morning and sharing your knowledge.
Well, thank you, Dave. That was a very nice introduction. And I also want to thank everyone for joining us this morning, a Monday morning. And I hope we can give you a little bit of a soft landing to your week. Dave and I both were a little groggy from our respective watching of the Eagles game. So, okay, so here's the roadmap for our presentation today. We're going to go over killer content, why you need it, how the pros do it, people like myself who create content, professionally for a living, and different tools you can use to help you. And then we will create some content. We'll use the tools and talk about what to do with the content once you have created it. I have built in times to answer questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A, and at the times we have reserved, we will try to address as many as possible. Okay. Why do we care about content? Because that's what Google cares about. And Google, of course, is the big gorilla who performs 100 million searches a month. Okay. Google actually ranks your website and your social media based on content. So Google really prefers original content. And this is what's challenging for small business owners or any marketing person in a smaller organization, because it takes time to create original content. But that's what Google wants. Google does not want thin content. In other words, something you might have copied from someone else, something that's automatically generated, affiliate pages. Of course, we're now in the age of AI. You can get some help with AI in creating content, but once again, Google is going to want original content, and Google can tell the difference. Okay, other very important reasons. Google's ranking, it's critical to your search engine optimization. In other words, it's critical to where you're to assist your website in getting the best ranking in searches. Also, content tells your story. It expresses your message, and it engages customers and prospects. Okay, these are all really critical to the marketing of your organization. And that's why content is so important. And of course, contributing to SEO. SEO is how you are found. So why do we want or need killer content? And of course, by that, I mean content that is engaging. All right. Engagement means you connected with your prospect or your client. And engaging content is like these pictures of these babies. If you don't find them engaging, I want you to seriously check your pulse. There are some things that are engaging to all people. And one of them is human faces, by the way. And we'll just talk a little bit about what we mean by engaging content. Content that either surprises or inspires. Okay. Content that teaches you something. It has to be something your audience needs or wants to learn. You can be funny, amuse them. That engages people. There's static content and active content. Static means photographs and text. Active is video, moving content. Both types of content can be effective, but I must say video is the most effective because motion catches your eye. and on social media and on your website, that is going to be the most engaging content. However, there's static content that lots of people will look at, and I'll get to that. One other point, I want you to just remember what you may have learned in kindergarten, how to make friends. And what we're talking about with creating killer content is making friends through digital media. Whoops. Let me go back. All right. Is there any question at this point, Dave?
Judith, I did get a question here in the chat. Can we use video from TikTok or Instagram?
You if you have created it, of course. If you did not create it, you can share it. You can, don't present it as your own, but you can share it. And if it is something that pleases or interests your prospects or clients, there's nothing wrong with it. With sharing content like that, but it's not going to be it's not going to really help your SEO. Okay. Your content will help your SEO, but sharing is good. It will help whoever you shared it from, but it's not necessarily a help to your SEO.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all for
Thank you.
now.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Okay. Here we go. Whoops. I'm sorry. There we go. So let's talk about where the pros who create content all the time, where they start. And I'm going to talk about what I do with, with my clients. I have clients because my clients don't have time to create original content. Okay. So I do ask them as much as possible to send me photos or text that I can use. And that's very helpful. That is our preference. But sometimes what my clients need is not something they can provide for me. I'll give you an example. For instance, I have clients that are physicians, and they need to connect with their patients and prospective patients. But they're not going to be able to take pictures of their patients and send them to me. They can't really share anything because of patient confidentiality. They can't really share too much from their actual practice other than, say, pictures of their employees or like my one or two clients, they are ophthalmologists who provide eyeglasses. So we can have pictures of eyeglasses, but we can't really show real people from their practice. So what I do for them is I find an authoritative source. This is very important and it's easy to do. Excuse me. You're going to look for a source with no commercial interest. Excuse me. Sorry. All right. So this would be a professional or industry association. I would say, like for my client who's an ophthalmologist, I go to the American Academy of Ophthalmology, and they provide really good content for patients that explain eye conditions and treatments and so on. And it's actually designed for ophthalmologists to pick up and use. You might have an industry association that provides that kind of information. There might be a government site that you could lean on. I use the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention quite a bit because I have healthcare clients. I can go in there, pick up good content, and you can put that out there. There's no problem. I always like to link back to the source. I just make sure it's not a source with a commercial interest, because if you do that, you're just advertising for another business. But get yourself identify an authoritative source in your field where you can use content, link back to them, and be sure that what you're sharing is accurate. All right. When we are picking up content, we really want to be careful about plagiarism. So sometimes you might want to use content without linking back. If you do that, you're going to have to rewrite or reshoot it for originality. Okay. If it is, say, I'm just going to say an explanation of a disease. These explanations are out there. This is not tremendously copyrighted material, but if you're not going to link back to your source and you want to present it as your content, you're going to have to rewrite it. Okay. And I do this commonly, especially for websites. All right. That's most important, usually to present yourself as the expert. I will, when I rewrite, I then test my text using something called Copyscape or Plagiarism Detector. You can Google these. The reason we make sure it wouldn't be considered plagiarism is because internet plagiarism is now a legal specialty. You can't just pick up photos and use them as your own, and you can't just take text and use it unless it is linked back and expressly out there for use. Okay. This is really important. We'll talk a little bit about the photo end in a second. Here we go. Photos and video. There is such a thing as royalty-free photos. There are stock photos. You can purchase them for use. Okay. I sometimes do that for clients. Adobe Photos is one very good source, but you pay for it. It doesn't have to be expensive. Some of them are. Shutterstock and Getty Images will give you great pictures. They're a little more expensive. I search for royalty-free photos as much as possible. These are photos you are permitted to use without giving credit or paying for it. The sources I use are Pexels.com and Pixabay. When you go in there for royalty-free photos, just be careful, because companies like Shutterstock have inserted ads where if you pick their photos, you're going to have to pay for them. Okay. So it's no problem. It's easy to use these royalty-free sites. I do it often, and they're good photos. There's also stock video. My motto is search for it and you will find it. Pexels.com has stock video. There's other royalty-free stock video. It's useful. You can you can get good at using it. And I would just encourage you to know that these tools are there. Okay, some rules of thumb, and this is to help you feel a little more comfortable with creating your content. First of all, your customer and your prospect would rather your content be authentic than perfect. So in other words, they don't want to feel like it's fake. Shorter is always better. If you have a complicated message, break it into small bites. And really, it's better for it to be authentic than perfect. And that's particularly true, say, with videos. You don't have to have a perfectly polished, professionally edited video. It's okay if you do, but some of your, say on your website or someplace like that. But actually, most people prefer content that is more real. So that's good news when you're creating content. Here are some of my other rules of thumb, and these are very helpful. These 2 points here will help you know what to create content about. What content should I create? Okay. 1, answer the most frequently asked questions. Think about, write down the 5 questions that prospects or customers always ask, or 10 if you can come up with them. Write them down and then answer them. You can make 5 or 10 great posts, either through photos and text or through a video, through little videos, short videos that answer the most frequently asked questions. Once again, keep them in small bites, everything in small bites. Also, this is really one of my favorite little tricks, which is answer the unasked questions. Like for me, the unasked question that's always hanging out there is, what is this going to cost me? Okay. So most business owners and managers are under the impression that consultants and advertising people are very expensive. Okay. So I operate on a very low overhead way. I don't have a big office, fancy office, and I don't have a lot of employees to pay. So I keep my fees really reasonable and affordable. So I answer that unasked question. I just right up front because it's on people's mind. But a lot of times people are embarrassed to ask the question. So think about the unasked questions that you would be encountering and answer them. Your customers are looking for answers. All right. Do we have questions?
Judith, I do have a question in the Q&A. And folks, again, a reminder, if you have a question, you may need to move your mouse around a little bit for the screen on the bottom to pop up. Use the Q&A tab if you could, if you would. If you have any specific questions for Judith, or if you just want to share a thought, you can also use the chat feature also at the bottom. Judith, here's the question that came in from Abel. It says, when we use our own photos, how do we protect them or claim them as ours? Do we have to use a watermark on it?
You don't have to use, it would be a little bit, you could call it a watermark. You could put a watermark on them. So first of all, little tip, if it's your original photo, you can put a copyright sign on it. Okay. You can impose a watermark that says little copyright sign and your name. So you may do that. And if you really would object to someone using your photos. Now, you don't have a legal team out there trying to find people using your copyrighted material. So you really don't have too many teeth that way. But if you're concerned about it, you can put a copyright mark and your name on anything that is your own. I personally never really felt that worked up about it. For instance, if I'm needing photos of a cute kid, I've used pictures of our son when he was a small child. Well, he's a grown man. He doesn't care. And it doesn't really worry me if somebody would pick up that photo. But if it concerns you, that is one way to deter it.
So Judith, just to be clear, you're talking about the small c with the circle around it.
Correct. The little bit like the @ sign kind of thing.
Right.
But the small c,
Okay.
you would find it under symbols on your computer, where they have symbols, and you'll see a circle with a small c. You want to put that with your name, and that actually copyrights your material. You don't have to do anything more to have copyright protection. I'll say, unless you have, the means to go and enforce it, I can't really say you're going to stop someone, but generally people won't just grab something that's got a copyright watermark on it.
Very good. Thank you. That's all the questions we have at the moment, Judith.
That was a very good question, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. So let's create some content. You're going to start like any other type of marketing campaign. You're going to ask yourself questions. All right. Is this a one-time post or is it a campaign? Am I planning something out? Like, do you have like an event that you're promoting? Are you promoting a sale? Do you have a series of messages, related messages you want to put out there? Or is this just, I'm just posting something because it's Monday? Generally, I recommend every business make 3 to 5 posts a week on their social media channels. You don't have to be posting to all the social media channels, but you do need to post to the social media channels where you would find most of your prospects. Okay, because that's how you're going to make new friends. Enough on that. But you might say, okay, I'm going to post Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Your choices of when you're posting will depend on your specific audience. Or are you doing a campaign? Because you'll need to, if it's a campaign, you need to plan out all the posts at one time and then kind of, schedule them, dole them out. Is this going to be on your website or is it going to be for social media? It can be for both. Or it can be for one or the other. Sometimes social media content is a little more active and let me say, off the cuff kind of thing. Website content is a little more like it's going to be there. It's going to be a reference for your clients, and it's a little different, but it can be for both. Is it going to be a post or a blog? And the difference between a post or a blog is simply a blog is longer than a post. And there is such a thing as a video blog, which is known as a vlog. But it also can be both. I mean, there are some blogs that are just too long to be considered a post. Just remember your content needs a purpose. And if the purpose is you're doing a whole campaign with an end result, or maybe your purpose just is today, I want to say something on this day that my prospect or my client will either enjoy or certainly take time to read and appreciate. All right, and then you need to decide, is it going to be text and photo, or is it going to be video? Okay, video will get the most engagement. Text and photo is probably the easiest thing to put together. And we'll get to that in a minute. And I would love to see any one of you doing a mixture of text and photo and video. And is it going to be original, or is it going to be sourced or rewritten? Original is best, but it's very time consuming. If you're going to source it, use the tools I've already mentioned to you. Get very comfortable with them, and you can be producing content that's very effective. Always think about what content best serves your purpose. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some sources or some examples. I'm sorry. What would I call killer content? Well, I like memes. Okay, I think this is a very funny one. Humor is always a good thing to use. You don't want to just always be the funny person. You don't have to be the class clown, but humor really it builds a little bit of affection for you among your clients and prospects. And a meme is literally a photo that has some text on it. All right. So I think this one's funny. I'm always careful when representing a business. Make sure it's not poking fun at anyone. Don't get into the dangerous areas of politics or religion. This one, okay, it's referencing prayer, but it's not a religious post. You always want to be, I give it all humor that's done on behalf of a business. I give it the grandmother test. Would you be embarrassed for your grandmother to see this? And if the answer is no, then it's okay for you to use that for your business. Here's some more killer content. Always children and animals get a lot of notice. Human beings do love human faces. That's one of the reasons why Facebook has succeeded so well. Humans also love animals, and the animals' feelings are never going to get hurt if you're putting them up there as maybe a little bit of a butt of a joke. Okay, whoops, I skipped over one. Sorry. There we go. This is one that I really enjoyed. It caught my eye a while back. It's a little bit of a long post about this sheep that grew 60 pounds of wool. And it gives a great philosophical message. Wolves tried to eat him, but their teeth could not penetrate the floof. You don't have to turn hard to survive the wolves. Just be really, really soft and floofy. I like that. It's nice philosophy. Maybe on a Monday, it's nice to put out a meme like this. It's also a nice way to be keeping content out there. Oh, and by the way, you can find memes to use, just Google memes for free, that kind of thing. Memes to use. You'll find there's memes being produced, but you can make them yourself. This is a simple way where the person just used a picture. We're going to say it's a royalty-free picture and put in some text, but you can make a meme, which is putting text on a photo, by using something like Canva, which is a free like Photoshop type service. Of course, Photoshop. I also use Paint, which is a free paint.net, which is a free way. So you just put text right on top of a photo to develop your own memes. Okay. And I'm a little too twitchy this morning. Here's another very simple example of a business owner, a construction company, who was building these wonderful play sets, outdoor play sets. And he took pictures of these sets, and he put together a nice little bit of text, and boom, there's original content. If you make a product of any kind, any physical product that you can photograph, you have a source of content. Make sure you take pictures of what you do. If what you do is a process, for instance, a painter, you're painting a room, take a before and after picture. Boom, you have great content. All right. If you're building something, if you're creating anything artistically, make sure you take pictures of your work, even if it's something that you did for a specific client. You don't have to give any identifying information about the client. I would always be careful about that. But you can show your work. And that is probably the best original content you can come up with. Whoops. And we want to go this way. Okay. You perhaps it's not so easy for you to show your work. This is a great way to show a photo book. This was very simple and inviting, I thought. This also had a feature where you could look at sections of the book. Always keep it simple and inviting. All right. One last thought before we go on and talk about video. If you are, like myself, a consultant, and it's not that easy to depict what you do, then you want a good bit of your content to show your expertise. So, for instance, do several, 5, 10 short videos that answer those frequently asked questions. And you can keep scheduling them. You can put them out there. You can reshoot them and periodically to keep it fresh. You can do videos that answer the unasked question. And you can do text and photos that do that. Okay. You also want to just show your expertise. So, for instance, I'm a marketing consultant. I could be doing a series of posts that give some marketing advice. And people will really appreciate that. All right. So that's what you do if you don't have a physical product to promote, is you show your expertise. All right. So video. Why do we care about it? So it's because personal habits have changed. Question to all of you. Would you rather watch a movie or read a book? Now, I am a great reader and I still read a lot. But very often in the evening when I'm relaxing, I really rather just watch a movie. My eyes might be tired and I'm not really interested in sitting and concentrating on a book. Many of us would rather watch a movie, and this is what has happened. Video has really taken over, and particularly if you have younger people as your target audience. Okay, so there's a whole process for shooting videos. I want to tell you that I am not suggesting that you have to become a great videographer or a great video producer. It's time consuming to do that. Uh, there is, though, a simple process you do need to go through if you want to shoot some videos for your business. So, first of all, establish a shooting location. It can be as simple as your office. All right, the photo shown here, it's someone doing a cooking class. So that's going to be their shooting location is going to be their kitchen area. But you need to identify a shooting location, hopefully a place that's quiet, that's not going to have background noise. You're going to write a script, and that doesn't have to be fully scripted out. It can be bullet points, but plan what you're going to say. Plan your message. Rehearse it a little bit. Rehearse it in front of a mirror. Rehearse it a little bit, maybe to another person. Just say it out loud if you're going to be making a video. And then you're going to set it up. You're going to shoot, edit, and post. And actually, I really light on the word edit. You really don't need to do a lot of editing. Remember what I said, people like authentic videos. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you feel a need for a perfect type video, then you really need to invest in paying a videographer to shoot and edit for you. And that's okay. There are wonderful local videographers who will do that for you. It's a bit of an investment, but it's often worth it. Like, for instance, if you want a piece on your website that gives a tour of your process or your facility, that's often best to do professionally. But if you are doing just a little tips, or you're just shootings like, hey, look what we did today, you can just shoot it and post it. And I will talk about how you can do that. Remember that video is like anything. The process gets easier the more you do it. Okay. These are some easy ways to shoot video. One, use Facebook Live. All right. You shoot it right on Facebook. Facebook turns it into a video that then is just a regular post, a video post. You can also record on your computer. You can do it by Zoom. Like right now, we're recording on Zoom. You can make a Zoom recording, a short one, a long one. And there's actually simple editing ways to break up a video, but I would just shoot a series of short videos right on your computer. I had one time a client, a health coach, who every Sunday night, she did a short health tip, recorded it and sent it to me, and I posted it every Monday. And that got great. She had a real following. People looked for it every Monday at noon. It was, it was just easy, inexpensive, and very popular. You also can convert photos to video. Okay, and I put some sources here of services that you can do that. And that's a great way to, if you have some nice photos, convert them to video, and you'll get better engagement, and you didn't actually have to go through the video process. Always remembering authentic is better than perfect. Okay, that was a long stretch. Any questions?
I don't have any questions in the Q&A box. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them now. It appears maybe we had one person that lost audio, and I'm hoping it is just them. We are
Okay.
still recording. Again, you will receive a copy of the recording within the next couple of days in case you did lose any audio. But no questions at this time, Judith.
Okay, very good. I'm going to go on. I'm going to pick up the pace a little because we do want to conclude promptly at the end of the hour. Okay, so this is just a quick overview of which platforms, which social media platforms do you use for which type of content. The first rule is you choose your platform based on your audience. Where are your prospects? Because social media is your best way, your best outreach for people who don't know you yet. Okay. There's other tools that are your best, like I believe email is a better tool for reaching your current clients and staying in touch with them. But social media is where you're going to make friends. Okay, so the specific platforms have their own strengths. Along with saying, where are my prospects? You're also going to say, I would use Facebook to humanize my brand. All right, you want to be a person on Facebook and not a corporation, not a faceless company. It's also true for Instagram, which is also more fun. It's a little more lighthearted and draws a younger audience. X, which we used to know as Twitter, you use it to send someone somewhere. There's not enough characters, in my opinion, to really get a message across, but you can say, hey, go read my blog, go to my website, read this, go to my Facebook page and read this. That is the best use for that platform. LinkedIn is a great place to display expertise. You can put a blog, it's called, I believe, Publish. Put that up on LinkedIn. That's a great way to show your expertise. Pinterest is for ideas, and it's especially great for reaching women. Women use Pinterest for ideas, decorating, fashion, also for health information. YouTube is where you go to be found. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, second only to Google. And YouTube is also your tool for storing your video. So you should have a YouTube channel and store your video on that. Okay, your website is your digital storefront. It's very important that you keep it current. It's important also to update your content on your website, because if it's very static, Google doesn't like that. You're going to set up your website with the keywords that are key to your SEO. Keywords, just to remind you, are the search terms your prospect or client would use to find your business. So your name of your business is not your keyword, but what you do is your keyword. Obviously social media is an important keyword for my business. If you want to find out what your keywords should be, I've listed two services here, one free and one paid, that will help you suss out your keywords. You want your website to tell your story. You want it to store your content. Your website sells your business. I personally don't go to any business after until I've seen their website. That goes for restaurants, anything. I go look at the website. And if the website isn't current, if it isn't engaging and attractive, I'm not that interested. And I'll find a business that'll have that as their storefront. So another question you might have is, how do I know if my content is working? Okay. We've talked about, putting the effort in to create content. Simply, on social media, you can look at likes, shares, and comments. You want people to be engaged. If they are engaged, they will like it, share it, or make a comment. Your search engine ranking should be improving if you're putting content out there and it's engaging. Your Google Analytics should reflect more activity. You should be using your social media to drive people to your website. So that is important, and that will help your Google Analytics. Are you getting more inquiries and sales? Are you getting more business? Sometimes you're getting more business. You don't really know where it came from. And you can't even ask the client because half the time they don't even know where they heard of you. A lot of times it's just because they did hear of you on social media or your website, but they don't remember. So you're going to have to just go for how it feels. Are customers responding? All right. And that's, for a lot of people, they want something more concrete. But this is really what we look at in marketing, and it's marketing, not sales. If your marketing succeeding, you have more visibility out there. Okay. I am at the end of my talk. I can take any questions that might be there, Dave, before I sign off.
So let's look here. I don't have any questions in the Q&A box. If anybody has a question at this point and just wants to raise their hand, and you can do that again across the bottom of the screen. In my case, maybe it's the side or the top in yours. Move your mouse around and I'll keep an eye out to see if anybody has any raised hands. In the meantime, Judith, I want to thank you very much for all of the insights that you provided to us this morning. I've listened to this presentation several times now, and I always pick up something new. There's a lot of great content in here, and you've shared with us a lot of places to go for free to help us develop content and to check to see how we're doing. So really, really wonderful things there. No hands raised, no questions in the box. So let's do this at this point. Judith, again, thank you so much. Hang on for 1 second.
Dave.
Yep, 1 second. For a travel agent business, Mabel, can I open up your microphone and you can ask your question? Let me see if I can do that here real quick. Mabel, can you hear us? Mabel, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, certainly can.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I wanted to ask, for a travel agent business, what would be the top rated or the best or your recommended social media tools to use?
Okay, I'll say to you, I'm so glad that you asked the question, Mabel. First off, I would say Instagram is a great platform for you. because you're going to it's fun. It's a fun platform. It's not ridiculous, and we have to watch on that with businesses. TikTok is out there, and a lot of people enjoy TikTok. But I am conservative about businesses really using TikTok a lot. I prefer Instagram, and it's a younger crowd. It's going to be people, you're going to catch people in the right frame of mind for travel, for selling vacations and fun things. So that's what I would do immediately. Now, Mabel, if there's one particular age group you want to reach, is there a particular age group or gender that you're really trying to reach?
Mabel
I'm
may
so
be back
sorry.
on
I'm so
because
sorry. I lost you for a minute because there was noise here.
Okay.
What was the last thing you said?
Is there a particular age group or gender you're trying to reach?
No, so long as they have the money.
I'm with you, Mabel.
Groups. Let me say groups because you get a lot more money from there. So groups, and I'm not limiting it to religious or students or groups, any kind of groups.
Okay, so a quick thing to you. Instagram is great, but you should be joining some Facebook groups
Okay. Thank you.
and join them and tell them about your great packages for groups. Okay. And also consider Facebook or Instagram advertising. That is paid, but you often get very, very good results with that. Okay. So that would be my best advice to you.
Thank you
Judith,
so
that's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Folks, for those
Okay.
of you who could take a minute, I've launched a poll, and I'd encourage you, if you would please, to take a look at that and see if you can complete that here in the next minute or two. Judith, we have a couple more questions. You mentioned a post someone you knew made every Monday at noon, but I missed what it was. I'm curious, as it may inspire some ideas. Can you go back and comment on the Monday posts?
Yes, this was a health coach and was very, very successful. What did we call it? Monday Motivator. And she was one of those very energetic, motivating people. So she would do a short video. It was always like a health tip for the Monday Motivator. And we just had great results with that. What we did, we sent an email every Monday at noon to her clients, and then we did a post on Facebook. And I believe she's now branched out to other platforms as well. But that was very successful. And like, for instance, it could be any topic, but I find if you can give somebody a topic on a Monday that is really important to them, that's a good day for posting.
Wonderful. Two more quick questions here, and
Okay.
then we'll wrap up. Can you use an article if you attribute it to the paper or to whomever produced it?
Yes, you can. Just make sure you attribute, if possible, link back, link to their online version. Always attribute. Just make sure you're not inadvertently promoting your competition. But
Got it.
but if it's an authoritative article, if it's an important information for your customers, that's a great thing to do. You're sharing, helping to educate your customers.
Wonderful. And one follow-up to that, do you believe that viewers prefer a link rather than the actual text?
They definitely prefer a link to a long piece of text. Like, if it's long, use just a little bit of it and just a paragraph or so, and then a link, put in a link. Most people do not sit and look at long posts, but the ones who are really interested will hit that link and go read it. So.
Gotcha. Okay, and it looks like we had one more question. I'm going to go ahead and unmute.
Just
Mabel,
one
go ahead and ask your question, and then we will wrap up here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. So I was
Yes.
coming home, I'm in the travel industry. I was coming home yesterday and I saw an airplane London with a very beautiful skyline behind it. And I took a short video. Now, how would you rate this posting if, let's say I posted it on social media and I say something like, can you guess, or welcome home? Can you guess which airport? Will this kind of post be engaging enough for my client and people out there? Or would it be lame?
I like the idea of that post. I think people would look at it, perhaps not asking them, can you guess which airport? Maybe you want to say to them, guess where they just came from. So that you, and maybe give them a choice of a few destinations. You want to get them thinking about some place they'd like to visit. But I love the picture. Okay, so I would just do, I pose a question, but I would try to get a question that's going to get them thinking about where they'd like to go.
That's great insight. Thank you, Judith.
Absolutely.
If you're interested in speaking with or looking for mentor services, again, you'll receive this presentation, but you can see our website as well as our main number in the local SCORE office. We would love to work with you, help you develop your ideas, understand where you are on your journey, see if we can help you. And yeah, go ahead.
I have one more slide I'm throwing up here, just because it gives all this information. I would urge any one of you to get a SCORE mentor, please. They're free. They're so smart, guys like Dave, and gals, and they're
guys and gals, yeah,
outstanding. If you contact the SCORE office, you see the contact information here on the screen. You will also, have your recording. Contact the SCORE office. You can get a mentor. Please consider it. They're wonderful. I've seen them do great things to help businesses. Also, if you have another question for me, my email address is right there. Always feel free to reach out to me.
Wonderful. Judith, again, thank you so much for taking the time. I apologize that we ran over a few minutes, but hopefully the feedback was indicative of what you walked out of here with, a very positive feedback, Judith. So thank you again. Thank you all. We appreciate your time. On behalf of any sports fans, go Phillies, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Bye now.